Hello musici, today let's study how to create a prelude and a chaconne with Niedt. Welcome to this new video, and today I want to explore with you this chapter of Niedt book about variation, where we talk about dances, starting the first part with this prelude and chaconne, and then we'll face with allemande, courant, sarabande, minuet, gigue, and other elements in forms invented from a simple thoroughbass. Let's see. Today let's start reading this excerpt of this interesting treatise of the 18th century. Chapter 11 on preludes and chaconnes and how they may be made from a simple thoroughbass. Such preludes and chaconnes will be shown and explained to the eager learning using the following simple bass without great adornment, which is of no use for the beginner. Afterwards, the immature judgments of the ignorant know-it-alls will be untenable, and they will be shown how far they have progressed in their art and knowledge. I chose the following bass as the foundation of my invention. So the invention, the main idea. So Niedt gives us this bass. And first of all, let's do a simple basso continuo realization. So 3-5, 2-4-6, 6, 3-5, 6-5, 3-6, 2-6, double cadence, then 6 Prinner, 2-4-6, double cadence. Even if it's not explicitly written, here we add a 4-6 and then a 5 in order to have a correct, complete double cadence. Where we have some space, let's change the position. So here, from the octave to the third at the top, so we can change the position, which sounds better. Another double cadence, we can add 6-4 and 5-4. Fa, sol, fa, 6-5-7, fa, mi, re. And then the final chord, which is not written here. But after this, because we have a double cadence, fa, mi, re, the resolution which arrives at the end of the piece. We'll see this later, because after this Niedt will attach the chaconne. So the final resolution, you see, will be the chaconne, but we'll see this later. Okay, one thing at a time. Now, very important thing, the sponsor of this video is Suite and Dances, the third level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path, thanks to which you can learn how to compose an entire suite with allemande, courant, sarabande, gigue, and other dances. You can find all the info here in the description, and every self-respecting Baroque composer wrote at least one suite with their own dances. Think of Bach's French suites, Handel's suite, or harpsichord partitas by other great composers. Composing a suite is a true challenge. Each dance has its own rhythms, phrasing, style, and unique character. And if you don't study how each one works, you risk writing an allemande that sounds like a gavotte, a French courant that feels like a sarabande, or a minuet that turns into a passe-pied. No, no, no! What you need is structure, method, and the right knowledge. That's why I created an entire level on the Musicus Practicus Baroque path dedicated to composing a complete Baroque suite with all its dances. The dances you'll study include allemande, sarabande, minuet, gavotte, bourrée, French courant, Italian corrente, passe-pied, Lure, French jig and Italian giga. Each dance is introduced in a carefully structured didactical order, and for every one of them I've designed a target learning method, the most effective one I've used and I use in my one-to-one lessons, which has helped students achieve faster and more solid results. First, we studied the compositional elements of each dance: rhythm, phrasing and structure. Then we analyzed many real examples from different composers so you can learn directly from them and be inspired by their work. Finally, the active part. We composed 2 full suites together, writing 2 dances for each type, one in B flat major and the other one in B minor, to explore the expressive richness of both major and minor modes. All of these and much more in the 3rd level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path, Suite and Dances. Click the link to download the free ebook on Suite and Dances and to explore the full content. Then get started with the free levels you can find on the Musicus Practicus Academy free. Then choose the complete path that suits you best and get ready to compose your Baroque suite as if you had lived in the 18th century. Then you can choose what you prefer. There is the lifetime access and there is a special offer, launch offer now in this month in July. Otherwise, there is another plan, which is the subscription model, with which you can have the access to all the courses, but in a progressive order and passing all the tests. So if you're an advanced musician, probably the complete path, the lifetime path, it's what you need. Otherwise, if you're a beginner and you need a structural path, the subscription model may be your best solution. In any case, go to this link and you can write me an email so we can better understand your current situation and so we can better choose what is best for you. Now, let's continue. Here we have this Chaconne bass after the Prelude bass. So, if one wishes to change to 3/4 time, starting from the G, so from the G, this, and treat the first 4 measure of the ground bass as a Chaconne, then this would be pleasing to the ear, and the Chaconne bass would look like this. So what he's doing is taking the first 4 measure and it's making it a Chaconne according to the triple time. So tactus inequalis. Tactus inequalis, for example, is a topic explained very clearly in the cantus figuratus level. So all the things, as you can see, are connected on the Musicus Practicus Academy. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, this way. Or another possible bass is 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Or another manner, it could also be done in this manner. This way. Now, if one should wish to include a trio in the Chaconne, then the bass used in chapter 3 of this part for variations could be set this way: bass for the trio. What's this? This is the Monte Romanesca. Mi, re, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, re. This is the Monte Romanesca. If you check the pattern, do, sol, re, la, fa, fa. After the trio, the Chaconne would be resumed and could continue as long as one wishes. The trio could always be repeated after the 8th or 10th reprise of the ground bass. Such a contrast is extremely pleasing to the ear, when the chaconne has ended. The entire prelude could be concluded with a slow finale using the first four measures of our given theme from above, possibly this way. So the first four measures with then a cadence, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have another stronger cadence to conclude the entire composition. So, what's the plan of what Niedt is saying? Niedt is saying we have a prelude at the beginning. So prelude, let's write it here. Prelude. Then the prelude for join pattern, because you can find all these sources, even the other one, which is this one, with the other thing we'll do together, you know, with the excerpt and the worksheet to write and follow this path we are doing here on Sweet and Dances with the original, as you can see, the original notation, so taken from the original German version. Now, keep learning. Learn every day. One day, a bit of compositional technique. Another day, some musical rhetoric. Then maybe some Baroque improvisation. On Patreon, inside the Musici Pratici community, I share exclusive content every day, every single day, to inspire you, to support you, and help you persevere in your journey. Videos, articles, and resources, and anything that can be useful for you. Go to our Patreon page, choose the contribution you'd like to give, and join us. This is the secret to every success. Keep learning, learn every day. Let's continue. I was saying, we have the prelude. After the prelude, we can attach the chaconne this way. Now, if one should wish to include a trio in the chaconne, so in the chaconne you can include a trio, then the bass used in chapter 3 of this part of variations could be set in this way. So we can have the bass for the trio. Chaconne, then you introduce the trio. After the trio, the chaconne would be resumed and could continue as long as one wishes. So chaconne again. The trio could always be repeated after the 8th or 10th reprise of the ground bass of the chaconne. So let's say chaconne 10 or 8 or 10 phrases, repetitions. Such contrast is extremely pleasing to the ear. Then we can put again the trio. Then another chaconne, for example. When the chaconne has ended, the entire prelude could be concluded with a slow final using the first 4 measures of our given theme from above, possibly in this way. So after the last cadence of the chaconne, a slow finale, and arriving to the end. Now, first of all, before seeing the version provided by Niedt, we have a couple other things to check. Now, number 6. Different kind of meters could also be employed here, which would gratify the listener, such as 6/8 and the like. To list all these here, however, would be too lengthy, and it should therefore be postponed until some other time. It also sounds very good if at the beginning of a prelude a laugh run starts in the discant, goes in the discant, so top voice, goes down into the bass and then comes to rest on a full chord, as in Bach's toccata in D minor. Such runs or lifts should usually consist only of an octave, or rather of a few notes repeated through octaves down to the lower note, such as, and now we have some interesting examples. We have right hand. As you can see here, the main notes are the notes of the chord. In that case we are in C major, so Then now one octave farther down. So right hand, do re mi fa la sol fa sol la sol fa la sol fa mi fa, do re mi fa la sol fa sol fa mi la sol fa mi fa. Then again one octave lower in the bass. So left hand, do re mi fa la sol fa sol fa mi la sol fa mi fa. And after the third time, you play the full harmony this way. So a possible beginning for a prelude is just imagine the four notes of the chord in these three positions. And then you can continue. Now, a prelude can also be done with leaps in this manner. So at the place of these round scales, we can do arpeggios. As you can see, these arpeggios are nothing more than arpeggios on the same harmony. C major, left hand, and then you can add the pedal if you have the organ. Here we have simple arpeggios with ascending figurations, as you can see. Just pass through all the notes. Otherwise, another possibility, or still in another way, as follows, where we have a kind of appoggiatura in the previous upbeat. So here you have the notes of the chord. Re, mi, sol, la, mi, fa, do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol, la, mi, fa, which is a figuration. Then, from degree 5 to 1, do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol, sol, mi, do, sol, sol, mi, do. This way. So. And then you arrive to C. Something that you can do, which is very interesting, consists in transposing this. Okay, so you can say, now let's do this, but in another key. For example, in a step higher, in D major. Okay. Or in B flat major, a step down. Or you may say, let's do this in another key, A major. Do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol. Here, thinking with solmization. Do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol. It's very useful. Do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, la, sol, fa, mi, fa. Fa, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, la, sol, fa, mi, fa. Fa, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, la, sol, fa, mi, fa. Or with other figurations. So we have, no, the other figuration is here. So with arpeggios. This is the easiest one because we don't have passing tones, just arpeggio. Or the other one, starting from the 5th degree, as you can see here. So in A major would be E. Re, mi, so, mi, fa, re, sol, la, mi, fa. Sol, sol, la, mi, fa, do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol, sol, la, mi, fa, do, re, mi, fa, la, sol, fa, sol, sol, la, mi, fa. As you can see. Now, some musicians use a run only in the discant and then immediately bring the full organ. This also sounds rather good, as the music does not then drone on and on. Another possibility, to this way, and then the full harmony. So only use a run only in the discant without passing through the other voices, and then immediately full organ. The eager learner can imitate these and similar skillful manieren, so patterns, taken from compositions of good masters. So basically analyze Bach's and other composers' works. Or after hearing such skillful passages and patterns, he can commit them forthwith to paper and see what they consist in. So you listen to them and you can write them. Let me assure him that he will suffer no harm from this practice, but will discover that in time he himself will think of many invenzioni. So this allows you to think to other possible patterns to start with. Keep learning. Learn every day. One day, a bit of compositional technique. Another day, some musical rhetoric. Then maybe some Baroque improvisation. On Patreon, inside the Musici Pratici community, I share exclusive content every single day, to inspire you, to support you, and help you persevere in your journey. Videos, articles, and resources, and anything that can be useful for you. Go to our Patreon page, choose the contribution you'd like to give, and join us. This is the secret to every success. Keep learning, learn every day. Here I must briefly consider the treatment of the pedal, even though it does not belong to this part. However, a bad habit has been gaining ground with several organists, that is, they can neither live nor play, as it were, unless the 16th pedal always draws alone. Even if the bass were written for the 2-foot octave or for C1 and up, this poor pedal is tortured nevertheless and trodden upon incessantly to make it buzz and boom quite strongly. Since this bad habit has gained so much ground, even in musical performance and thorough bass playing, so that a delicate piece can appear tasteless and defective, and therefore cause more annoyance than pleasure to the listener. A well-known Kapellmeister has rather nicely broken such a pedal torturer from this habit by always having the following words written above the organ stops or kartek, from which he, the would-be pedal torturer, had to play the thorough bass. Hans, blow the bagpipe, make it always rumble. Eventually the organist understood their meaning and changed his ways. Okay, it would be very good, let's read even this other excerpt, it would be very good if every bagpipe blower had this written above the thorough bass at all times. It is best, therefore, if an organist keeps the following in mind when playing thorough bass. If only one or two voices sing or play, there he needs only the 8-foot Gedakt in the manual and no pedal at all. If more voices must be accompanied, he can use the 6-foot Untersatz or sub-bass in the pedal. When he encounters a tenor, alto or discant signe, which is usually called a basset again, high bass, he must omit the pedal and play the notes in the octave in which they are written. If, however, a whole choir of 8 or 12 or more voices occurs, and in such case the place is usually marked with the words cor, tutti, ripieno, then he can pull the 8-foot principal in the manual and in the pedal in addition to the sub-bass, yes, another 8-foot octave. If a piece is written with trumpets and timpani, then a 16-foot Posaunen bass in addition to the 8-foot octave is pulled in the pedal. The notes, however, must not be held for a whole or half measure, but be sounded very briefly, only very briefly indeed. Here. To return now to our prelude, the theme chosen is the second one of the present chapter, could, without any loss, be extended by several notes in the actual execution. So, as you can see, now we have Niedt showing us the prelude plus the Chaconne, and then the trio. That is, as you can see, the trio. Fa, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, mi, sol, la, fa, la, fa. Then another Chaconne, as you can see, and this concludes the first part. So now let's see what Niedt say about this composition, and this is something we can develop in our compositions and improvisations. So to return now to our prelude and theme chosen a preludium should not be, okay, let's start here. A preludium should not be limited to a particular length. Should not be limited to a particular length. The more unaffected and natural it is, the better it turns out. Unaffected and natural it is, the better it turns out. Accordingly, we should like to give an entire sample here and start the whole preludium with the opening run, as was demonstrated above in 7 and 8. Then, here in measure 26, the Chaconne style can be adopted and was shown in point 3. Such a Chaconne can be continued as long as is appropriate, but during the closing one must return to 4/4 time, so the common time. Then this would be the entire preludium, including the Chaconne. So the preludium is not only the first part, but the entire preludium, as you can see. And here, so we have, let's analyze this from a higher point of view. The beginning, so opening, then the preludium based on the original bass line, basso continuo, followed by the Chaconne here, starting this point. Then trio, and after the trio, tutti, so the Chaconne. Here you can change the keyboard, so on the harpsichord we may move to the second keyboard, a Chaconne again, actually this seems to be a Chaconne, then we'll check it, and finale at the end, where we come back to the common time. Okay, let's play this section by section and let's see what's happening. So, would you like to compose music like a musicus of the Renaissance or Baroque? Imagine a custom-made path with a mentor guiding you step by step. No confusion, no abstract theory. Just real music, partimenti, counterpoint, cadences, fugues, solmization. Each month I work with a small number of musicians in a one-to-one program designed for complete beginners, experienced musicians seeking a clear method, anyone who wants to truly live early music, not just study it from the outside. Want to apply? Send me a message through the form at this link. And tell me who you are and your background, what you already know and your current skill, where you would like to go, your goals. I reply within 24 hours, and if it's a good match, let's begin this journey together. Right hand. do, re, mi, fa, do, re, mi, do, re, mi, la, la. So, this first section is entirely based on the basso continuo we have here, so we can even find all the relationships, but not now. Maybe another time we can find how he developed all of this with diminutions and figurations. Consider that there are some points, for example, where you have to play with pedal here, okay? So, pedal. So you can play parallel sixth easily. 2, 4, 6, do, re, mi, fa, do, fa. Double cadence. Even here, we can play this with a pedal sol. Now, parallel thirds, la, sol, fa, mi, re, sol, re, mi, fa. Sol, fa, mi, re, la, sol, fa, mi. Even here, sol, fa, mi, re, to pedal, because then la, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, fa, mi, fa. Imitations. Then and then here, mi, fa, sol, you can recognize the bass A, B with a 6, which is nothing more than this passage. Let's find it here, on the very end. And so, the conclusion, mi, fa, sol, sol, fa, la, sol, fa, do, sol, fa, la, sol, fa, do, sol, fa, sol, mi. Pedal, double cadence, and now chaconne, fa, fa, do, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, 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 mi, fa. Even here, you know, it's quite strange for the harpsichord and organ technique to have this parallel sixth, okay? Why? Because the bass of the chaconne is supposed to be played with the pedals. So do, fa, fa, mi, fa, sol. Or maybe not all the times, but when we have those passages, we can shift it to the pedal. Do, fa, mi, fa, sol. Do, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, sol. Do, fa, mi, fa, sol. Do, fa, mi, fa, sol. Do, even here, no, sol, fa, and then trio. Fa, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, la, sol, la, fa, la, sol, la, sol, la, fa, la, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, fa. re, mi, fa, mi. And the finale, you come back to the common time. And you can clearly recognize at the end here, mi, fa, sol, la, mi. So mi, fa, sol, la, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, which is mi, fa, sol, la, a kind of Fenaroli, mi, fa, sol, la, mi, because it works very well on the fifth degree. Mi, fa, sol, la, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa. This. Okay, and so in the next video we'll start analyzing the following chapter of this session, where we will practice with allemands, courantes, sarabands, minuet, gigue, and how they may be invented from a simple thorough bass. So starting with the simple thorough bass we had for the prelude, we'll build this suite. So let's continue our journey together. Join Patreon, because you can find a lot of extra and other resources every day I put for you to keep you learning every day, to help you learn something new every day. And if you want to study with me, to have a personalized path to learn composition, partimento, and the other things of that Renaissance or Baroque musicians used to learn, get in touch with me for the one-to-one musical apprenticeship path. Every self-respecting Baroque composer wrote at least one suite with their own dances. Think of Bach's French suites, Handel's suite, or harpsichord partitas by other great composers. Composing a suite is a true challenge. Each dance has its own rhythms, phrasing, style, and unique character. And if you don't study how each one works, you risk writing an allemande that sounds like a gavotte, a French courante that feels like a sarabande, or a minuet that turns into a passe-pied. No, no, no! What you need is structure, method, and the right knowledge. That's why I created an entire level on the Musicus Practicus Baroque path dedicated to composing a complete Baroque suite with all its dances. The dances you'll study include allemande, sarabande, minuet, gavotte, bourrée, French courante, Italian corrente, passe-pied, lourd, French jig, and Italian giga. Each dance is introduced in a carefully structured didactical order, and for every one of them I've designed a target learning method, the most effective one I've used and I use in my one-to-one lessons, which has helped students achieve faster and more solid results. First, we studied the compositional elements of each dance: rhythm, phrasing, and structure. Then we analyzed many real examples from different composers so you can learn directly from them and be inspired by their work. Finally, the active part. We composed 2 full suites together, writing 2 dances for each type, one in B flat major and the other one in B minor, to explore the expressive richness of both major and minor modes. All of these and much more in the 3rd level of the Musicus Practicus Baroque path, Suite and Dances. Click the link to download the free ebook on Suite and Dances and to explore their full content. Then get started with the free levels you can find on the Musicus Practicus Academy free. Then choose the complete path that suits you best and get ready to compose your Baroque suite as if you had lived in the 18th century. Do you want to learn how to compose music in the Renaissance or Baroque style? If you're at the beginning of your musical journey, or a professional looking to deepen your knowledge of early music, the best path may be a guided integrated course. Composing in the style of the 16th century or the 17th and 18th century requires much more than knowing harmony and counterpoint. You need to navigate a vast world, including solmization, fugue, cantus firmus, mensural notation, partimenti, dances, chorales and more. To avoid getting lost, you need an experienced guide, a musicus practicus who knows the path, walks beside you step by step, and helps you overcome each challenge with tailored exercises, attentive feedback, and continuous dialogue. Have a question about a topic? We'll discuss it. Stuck on an exercise? We'll work through it together. Want to go deeper into a subject? We'll tackle it with focus. Every month I accept a limited number of apprentice musicians like you for a program of personalized one-to-one lessons where I guide them in learning to compose in the Renaissance and Baroque style. How it works? During our one-to-one lessons we focus on 2 and 3 voice composition, counterpoint and partimenti, practical exercises on historical style, schemata, cadences, voice leading, models, patterns, and much more. During the week, you'll also follow recorded lessons on repertoire analysis, pattern structure, tones and modes in polyphony, rhythm of historical dances, and everything else you need to progress. This way, each individual lesson becomes focused, effective, and productive. If you'd like to apply for the musical apprenticeship program, go to the link and fill out the form telling me your musical background, studies, experiences, instruments, what you play, your current skill, what you can compose, if you know partimenti, chorales, anything else, and your goals, what you would like to learn in the short, medium and long term. I'll personally read your message and get back to you within 24 hours to let you know how we can work together. Don't miss the spot and learn to compose music as if you had lived in the Renaissance or in the Baroque.